What's going on, YouTube family? Welcome to Automotive Life. My name is Lucky, and today we're going to be talking about why dealerships suck. Now, if you're new to my channel, I talk all things automotive. I want to give you the consumer side as well as the automotive professional side. So this way you can see where both parties are coming from and hopefully meet somewhere in the middle with some sort of transparency, which is extremely rare in our industry. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started on the video, and I'm going to talk about what triggered this whole video. Now, I've been looking for a car for myself for the last few months. I've been trying to buy a Ford Bronco. I went to multiple dealers and multiple states, and the over MSRP is absolutely ridiculous. I've seen them 20, 30, 40, 50, $60,000 over MSRP. And this was back when there was none on the lot. People were really like, oh, well, they're rare. You're going to have to fight to get one. You're going to have to pay all the money. I went to our local Ford dealership here. I won't mention their name. I've been back there 4 times. They have 15 of them sitting on their lot. They have 10 up front and they have 5 in the back. And I asked them, give me a deal on one of them. I'll give you maybe $5,000 over MSRP. They are still holding firm at over $20,000. That was their deal on deal quote for me. So I just kind of laughed and walked away. So I decided to go out and buy a Toyota FJ Cruiser. Now, I'll get into that here in a little bit later, but I want to talk about that over MSRP. Something hit the headlines that absolutely blew my mind. A dealer back east, or I believe in the Midwest, I won't say their name, but it's a Chevrolet dealer, was asking $90,000 over MSRP. Now, you had to give them this deposit plus I think it was $6,000 of it was non-refundable to put your order in for a new Z06 Corvette, which is absolutely freaking hilarious. I've been offered the new Corvette, the Z06, for $25,000, $35,000, and $50,000 over MSRP. I should have took it. I didn't, like an idiot, and now they're starting to get sold out. The lists are pretty much, I think, booked for the whole year. But if you're a Chevy dealer, reach out to me. I'm still thinking about getting one. But that really triggered my thoughts of like, why are dealers doing this? It's just such a stupid thing. And they keep saying, well, it's supply and demand. It's supply and demand. I pray, because GM sent out that memorandum saying that they're going to start punishing dealers for massively overcharging consumers, and it's going to hurt their allocation. So I hope this particular dealer takes it in the ass with allocations. I pray they give them a bunch of really crappy Chevy Sparks and maybe 3 Corvettes to sell for the whole year, because $90,000 over MSRP is absolutely hilarious. It's almost the price of the car. So it's like you're paying double for a car the second you drive it off. You depreciate, over $100,000 is just insane to me. But anyways, next thing I want to talk about is, a lot of these dealers were supposed to go with this memorandum because everybody I've been talking to, the Ford Lightnings, the Hummers, the lists are already sold out. There's nothing they could do on that. You guys can't really harp on that because those cars have been sold out for a year. I really thought that the Corvette would be the next gen that would come out where they would say, okay, we have to abide by GM's guidelines. We can't overcharge the dealers too much. But they're still doing it. I went to a Hyundai dealership here in Vegas and they're still getting 20 grand over MSRP for a Palisade, and I think 35 or 40,000 for a Telluride for Kia, which is absolutely insane. Now, a lot of people keep asking me, when are these prices going to go down? I'm here to tell you right now, new cars, nothing is going to change, because why are they going to make more cars to fill their lots when they're making the biggest amount of profit margins they ever had in their lifetime? Now, if you think about back in 2018 and 19, you were always getting deals back of MSRP. I used to get calls from all my dealer friends. Hey, man, I got to sell a brand new Escalade this month. I'm on a certain limit because a lot of these dealers got to sell so many per month, per quarter, per year. So he was literally giving away an Escalade just so he can hit his quota and get his bonus from his manufacturer. But those days are gone. Now you're paying way over MSRP, and the dealerships, they're not the dealerships, but also the manufacturers are keeping the prices high by keeping the supply low, and they don't want to change it. So right now it's going to be to see who decides that profit and market share is more important. What I mean by this is GM flat out said they're not going to make more cars. They're just going to keep it low, keep profits high, and just see how demand goes. I believe Volkswagen and Hyundai is probably going to be the first to kind of drop their pants and say, hey, you know what? Let's make full amount of vehicles. Let's push them out, and we will take over our market share. We'll get more vehicles out there. Mitsubishi, if you're listening, my whole goal would be to pump as many Mitsubishis out as possible because Toyota's struggling, Honda's struggling, and a lot of these other manufacturers are holding back on vehicles to raise and increase their profits. So that's something else I would definitely look into. Now, when new car prices start to come down, it's going to be at least about a year. I believe a lot of the over MSRPs are starting to kind of dwindle because, like when I went to that Ford dealership here in Vegas, they have 15 Broncos sitting there. And I think all of them are the limited edition ones too, so they're the most expensive. So they're asking ridiculous prices. So they're going to probably sit there for a while, and I think nobody's going to get approved for them, and little by little they're going to come down. But I want to transfer over to the dealer side, the independent side, because we already know the franchise stores, they have their deals with the manufacturers. They've been screwing people. The manufacturer put out a memorandum saying don't overcharge people. But let's get on to the independents. So in the last 2.5 weeks, people have been seeing that the used car prices have surged a little bit. And they're like, well, lucky, that doesn't make any sense because the prices at the auction are going down, but the values are going up. How is that possible? And I keep telling people the book is always 60 to 90 days behind. So this little trickle effect that you're seeing is because of the supply and demand from probably 2, 3, 4 months ago. Well, now the supply is there. Demand is obviously not happening. And so people are starting to realize that their cars are not worth as much. So a lot of these dealers, they're not going to lower their prices because they're into the cars so much. They can't afford to take those losses. So I've seen a lot of dealers, and this is what's happening, and this is why I don't like Kelley Blue Book and MMR. They are increasing the sales price to offset their losses. So if they overpaid for a car, let's say the car's worth 20 grand, they paid 22 and they put $1,000 into it and they're trying to sell it for 26. If everybody across the market is overpaying and everybody's selling their car for 26 because they need to get more money out of it because they overpaid for it, guess what that does to the book? That pushes the book up little by little. Doesn't mean that the vehicles are worth the $26,000 that they're trying to get. It's just that all these dealers are so stupid. They overpaid, they over-reconned, and now these prices are going up. Now, the used car market is absolutely stupid. Every independent store that I've been seeing here in Vegas is struggling. The banks will not give them a loan on the cars. The fees have been 10, 15, 20% of the sales price. Now, just to clarify, if you guys are new to my channel, every time a dealer sells a car to a consumer, they get charged a fee. So if you buy a $10,000 car and they get a 20% fee, that's $2,000. So when you get the loan for 10 grand, the dealer's only going to get a check for $8,000. So that dealer right from the get-go loses $2,000 to the bank. But if he spent, 10 grand to buy the car, he's screwed. He's going to be losing money. But these dealers got to get him off their flooring lines. The last few weeks, we've been talking about how these independents have been overpaying, and now it's coming back to bite them in the ass. Just here in Vegas, this last 2 weeks, I've seen 3 dealerships go out of business because AFC and NextGear came and took their cars. We talked about the credit crunch. As these dealers start holding on to these overinflated, depreciating assets, the bank at any time can run a value on their portfolio. So if they owe $700,000 on all the cars on their lot, but the cars are worth $500,000, at any time, the flooring company can come up to them and say, hey, you know what, guys? We don't feel secure in our collateral. We need $200,000. And 99% of these dealers do not have the money to pay it. And so now they're all getting wiped out little by little. And this is just here in my local market. Do some research, walk around your area, drive around it, see how many dealers are still there, how many are going out of business. For all you people that are too lazy to drive around, I tell you to go to Car Gurus. The average days on market of cars used to be 15, 16. Now it's over 30. I think it's closer to 40 days. It just shows you that supply is building, demand is lessening, but prices are still going up. The only reason prices are still going up is because there's a sucker born every day and there's idiots out there still willing to overpay. I plead with you guys, be patient, wait. There are good deals coming. But every time you get a knucklehead that gets desperate, I need to get this car, I need to pay $40,000 for a $30,000 Dodge Charger. Every transaction they do, it's like setting a precedence. When you sell your house in your neighborhood, for somebody overpays $100,000 for your house because they're an idiot, guess what? Everybody in the neighborhood gets that appreciated value. There's no difference in the car market. Every time they meet somebody stupid enough to get buried in a 160% loan at 20% interest with zero money down or maybe $1,000 down, that affects everybody. It hits the market. All the books go up. You, the consumer, get screwed, and the dealers, even though the book goes up, they still overpay at the auction because like, well, now I have this much gap instead of this gap that I had before, so I'm just going to keep overpaying and ride it to the moon. So anyways, the reason why I want to harp on used car dealers right now is, so I've been currently looking for an FJ Cruiser, and I wanted to find something here local. I've been trying to go online, go on some of the auctions, and they're just an absolute joke. And so I was born and raised in Las Vegas, and I've never, ever bought a car here. And this is one of the reasons why. So as I started looking for my vehicle, every single dealer was just idiots. I would call them, hey, look, I'm pre-approved. I just need the best out the door price. I want to come test drive the vehicle. Give me the numbers. I'll set up a test drive, and I'll show up with a check. Very simple, very easy. When people did that at my dealership, I'm like, oh, it's $20,000 out the door. That's my best price. You show up today with the cashier's check. This is what I'll need, sir. And I've had people literally show up. Here's the check. They drive the car around. Okay, cool. Thank you. They take off. That's the way business is supposed to be done. Every single one of these dealers, did the, well, let me get your phone number. I'm like, dude, just I'll stay on hold. Go talk to your sales manager. I'm a serious person. Tell them I'm an old dealership owner. I just want to get the car, write a check, and get the hell out of there. Half of them, oh, well, we're not going to give you any type of numbers until we run your credit. And I'm like, look, I don't need your financing. I have my own financing. I'm going to be writing a check for my credit union. I just need a purchase order, and I'll set a time to do a test drive. Very simple, very easy. You would not believe every single major franchise store I dealt with here in Vegas were just absolute jokers. They were clowns. One guy, oh yeah, well, no problem, show up, we'll get you in. I'm like, okay, you're going to honor this price, no more fees, nothing else. I figured he would say, okay, well, we're on the up and up, you're in the car business, we'll do business. I drive all the way across town, which is not bad. It's like maybe a 30, 45-minute drive. I get there, and they start the sales guy's pitch, right? So I'm sitting there, and I'm laughing, and I'm like, do you guys know who I am? And it took about maybe 10 minutes, and one of the sales guys noticed me. He's like, yeah, that's the car guy from YouTube. And I was like, yeah. I go, your dealership is full of a bunch of ass clowns. I've been sitting here. You told me you're going to give me the car for $25K out the door with sales tax. All I got to do is bring you a check. I have a check in my car from Navy Federal Credit Union. All I want to do is drive this FJ Cruiser, make sure it's not a piece of shit, and we're good to go. In 2 minutes, we'll be out of here. Oh, okay, well, we'll let you drive it. We just need to run your credit. I was like, you're not hearing me. I have a check. You don't need to run my credit. Let me test drive the car, and I'm out of here. Once again, the guy goes into his office with his sales manager. And I keep thinking, I'm like, do these guys not know what I did for a living? I mean, if you want to get me in the box and grind the shit out of me, that's fine, but don't be an idiot. So I'm sitting there like laughing, and I'm talking to the sales guy, the one that watches my channel. I was like, tell your boss he's a freaking idiot. These guys were just literally trying to grind me out. And finally, I just got up, I started walking out, and he's like, why are you leaving? Why are you leaving? I'm like, I told you, I have a check for 25 grand. I want to drive it for 5 minutes, check it out, and then I'm out of here. That's it. I go, I'm not staying here to be grinded, bullshitted, whatever else. And so he said, okay, we'll give you the keys. So he gave me the keys. I drove it around. I came back. We agreed on a $25,000 out the door sales price. I show back up. It's $29,000. I'm like, what's this? Oh, it's $2,000 recon fee and blah, blah, blah. I literally grabbed the paper, and I'm hoping these guys are watching this. I tore it right in front of them. I laughed, and I was like, this is why you guys don't sell any cars, and you're a bunch of idiots. And I go, and if I wasn't an asshole, I would literally roast you on social media. But I know people are paying their bills. They have kids. They have families. So I don't want to get anybody fired. But these people in Centennial Hills dealership that have a FJ Cruiser that wanted to jerk me around, those are the people that are absolute idiots. And you guys know who you are. And so that was the first one. Second one was at another one in Henderson, which is about maybe another 45 minutes away from there. So I talked to the guys on the phone once again. Oh yeah, no problem, Lucky. We know who you are. Come down, we'll take care of you. And I was like, all right, I'm telling you, if I drive down there and you bullshit me, I go, I'm just going to hop in my car and leave. So I literally drove to the dealership, and for some reason in my head, I'm like, these guys are going to say something stupid or try to do something stupid. So I sat in my car. I pulled up. I called the sales guy. I was like, I need you to do me a favor. Get the purchase order from your general manager and bring it to me. I'm not getting out of my car. And the guy's like, oh, we got to come in. They want to meet you. I'm like, no. Bring me the purchase order. I'm going to see the numbers, and then I'm going to get out of the car and I'm going to drive it. If not, I'm just going to go to lunch, and then I'm going to go somewhere else. And so, make a long story short, they brought me the paper. Same thing. We agreed upon a price. They tried to add another, I think, $3,900 on the back end that told me I had to buy theft protection and VIN decoding and all this other crap. And I just laughed. I go, are you guys really this stupid? I go, I can understand you trying to do it to like maybe a regular person or somebody that's not in the car business. I go, but I literally talk about this on my channel every day, the stupid shit you guys do. And all they could reply back was, well, we have to do it or we're going to lose our jobs. I'm like, well, I'll tell you what, you can sell this to some other idiot. I'm going to go somewhere else. And I wound up going to another store, a Honda dealership up in Centennial. So I went from about maybe 2 hours of driving. Finally made a deal with Finley Honda. Met a really cool sales guy there. Shout out if you're watching. I picked up one. They didn't really bullshit me too much. You know, it was a little back and forth, but we were able to make a deal. I drove it off the lot, and it's sitting in my garage now, and I'm happy with the vehicle. I'm happy with the deal. This is my first car of being on this earth in 40 years that I've actually purchased a car here in Las Vegas. So the reason why I wanted to make this video is a lot of the practices and a lot of the stuff that dealers do is absolutely asinine, and it's super irritating. And I wish dealers would not do that. Be honest, transparent about the whole transaction. It's no big deal. If you got to tell the customer, hey man, I got to charge you $3,000 more because the bank needs to make money, or you have shitty credit and I have to offset my costs, or you know what? I can't give you the car at your price. I have to give it to this price. Take it or leave it. I'm okay with that. That's what I do. If once I open up my dealership, you guys will see I will be very, very transparent. I'm like, look, you got good credit, I can get you done through credit union. If you have really shitty credit, bank's going to charge me $2,000. You need to give some more money down. So this way we can get you offset the risk and get you out the door. The price is the price, whatever it is. I tell you it, and it's not going to change. All my advertising, I put the price with all the fees. None of this bullshit of, well, here's the price, destination fee, auction fee, your grandma's fee, my hooker and coke blow fee, my this fee. It's ridiculous. Our industry has gotten so bad, it's toxic. We are probably one of the most hated industries in the world. And this particular car market has just exacerbated the whole issue even more. I'm actually embarrassed when I tell people. I tell people now I'm a YouTuber. I don't even tell people I'm a dealer or a retired dealer or I used to be a dealer, because people look at you with this disgust look in their face because so many dealers are doing so much stupid shit. It drives me nuts. But anyways, I don't want to ramble too much. I do want to leave off on a positive note. I finally got my 100K plaque, which I want to thank you guys so much. And what I'm going to do now is every video that I make, I'm going to be answering questions in the last part of the video. So if you leave questions in the comment section below, and you also go to my Instagram at Lucky Lopez and leave a message there, every video I'm going to be answering some of your questions. So today I'm going to answer a few just kind of quickly off the bat. I'm going to just do 5. First one is it a good time to open up a dealership? I'm going to tell you honestly, no. Unless you have a lot of capital and you've been in the business for a while, it's going to be really trying times for the next 6 to 8 months. If you want to open up after those 8 months, then you should be fine. The market should be all the way to the bottom and it'll slowly start trickling back up. But you don't want to start on the way down unless you have sufficient capital to keep you going. One of the biggest ones is exotic rental car companies. Lucky, I want to start a rental company, an exotic rental car company. I don't know if you guys watched the video with me in Houston. You do not want to open up an exotic rental car company. You can absolutely not afford it. I don't care how much of a baller you think you are. Here's an example. You got to have 3 to 10 cars to start a policy. So you got to have 3 to 10 Lambos or Ferraris to start it. From there, your rate's going to be $3,000 to $6,000 per car per month. And that's just to get started. And you could never, ever call on your insurance to get that. And then on top of that, a lot of these insurance companies want you to own your cars. So not only do you got to have 10 cars, now you got to purchase them outright. You know, different states have different laws. They have, if it's owned by a bank, then technically the company doesn't own it, so they won't insure it. So you may have to pay it off to get licensed in your thing. And it's not worth it anymore. The business sucks. I keep telling people exotic cars is not the way to go for rentals. Basic economy cars, stuff that everybody gets into, is the future, and it's going to keep growing even more. So stay economy, stay regular cars, get out of this mentality of exotic cars. All these clowns that are selling these courses and trying to teach you that you can flip exotic cars and you could rent them out and make a bunch of money is absolute bullshit. You can do it for a little while, but all these guys burn out within 2 years because when they have to pay off their car or depreciation hits their car so bad, you know, when they got 60,000 miles on a Lamborghini Huracan and they owe $320,000 on it, they're going to be crying that they can't get the money back for it. The car's worth now maybe $200,000. So they're over $100K upside down. So don't do that. Next thing is it a good time to get into flipping cars? 100%. You want to start in a really tight economic time because it'll build some really good principles to stand by, not to overpay, double check your book, constantly be looking at the best deals and being more conservative with your money. I believe now would be a great time to get into business. So 2 more questions. Next one is it a good time to start an automotive repair shop? 100% yes. During an economic downturn, people don't have the extra capital to go out and buy new cars. So what are they doing? They are doubling down on their current vehicle. They're getting the tune-ups, they're getting the timing belt changed, they're getting the service done. They're more likely to stay in their current vehicle instead of dumping thousands upon thousands of dollars to get into a new used vehicle that's way overpriced. So as the economy gets worse, auto repair actually gets busier. It's one of the few businesses that they say is recession proof because people will never start picking up a bike and riding around. Maybe if you're in Europe, but not in America. There's too many fat asses. They're going to want to have that car to drive around. And especially if you live in a far commute, you got to have that vehicle to get around. Now, the very last one that I'm going to talk about is, do I enjoy being on YouTube? I thought that was probably the funniest question that I got. I usually get car questions all the time, but people are like, do you enjoy YouTube? Do you actually enjoy it? Do you like it? You know, what do you get out of it? I think the biggest thing that I love about doing YouTube is connecting with you guys because, you know, when we share this information, it's funny because the more I do it, the more it sparks up people, the more people talk about it. That's why this channel's been growing pretty quickly is, you know, people don't talk about the stuff that we're talking about, which is absolutely hilarious. I love these guys like, oh, we talk a little bit about cars and MSRP. No, I'm talking about how the dealerships shaft you, the back end financing, how the dealerships work, and calling them out and actually talking about how it really is. So I thought that was very interesting. And so, you know, from now on, I want to try to do my best to do, you know, 2 videos. I've been trying to do 3, but if I do get this dealership, it's going to get a little tricky, but I'm working on that right now. So we'll see how it goes. But I want to get you this video. Also, it is my birthday, which is super exciting. I am officially even older than I was last year. So I am going to go out and enjoy my day, but I want to